I'm in Plymouth, Michigan. This is Finders Keepers. And you can see right over here, we got our sign. Finders Keepers. This is a new location. They just opened here about a month ago. And it is a vintage shop. So a lot, over half of it is vintage clothing from the 60s and 70s. But they also have albums. And it's crazy the amount of albums. Not necessarily lots, but what he has. Some a little bit high. He knows what he has. Most of them look very in great condition. He does look them over. The owner, Matt, he's been doing this for, I believe he said, about 18 years. It started as a hair salon. Then his wife said, hey, why don't we open a vintage shop? And he added vinyl in a few years back. And it's really is amazing. Matt himself, the owner, is not a record collector. He goes, that's the last thing I need is to be tempted to take my stock and use it. So, hey, that's a good idea. So, there's a lot of video, but the albums I saw, you just don't see. It's nuts. He does not do online orders. So if you're in Michigan and you want some grails, this is Grail Heaven. Come in and take a look. Vintage vinyl in Plymouth, Michigan. Called Finders Keepers. Vintage vinyl, but it's Finders Keepers.
Christmas.
And welcome to the midweek. So the store tour, that place was crazy. It was so much fun. And it's more than just records. There's just fun things to look at. It's a vintage store. Here's what it is. Vintage Keepers. And if you are in the state of Michigan, there you go. They do not do mail order. So regretfully, for those that saw a lot of great things, you're going to have to drive up to Plymouth, Michigan, which is a western suburb of Detroit. But the things I saw were incredible. The jazz albums were amazing. Now, the owner, Matt, he knows what he's doing with pricing. He understands what it's worth. He does use Discogs. On the really expensive stuff, he is willing to work with you. Maybe you can get it lower. Kind of depends. But there was just a stuff I never see I found it in that store. And even as I went through the bins, and I did more bin searching than I usually do on one of these, but there's just so much interesting things. And some of it is a little bit high. Now, the coolest thing I bought, and I'll do more of this on the Sunday show, but the Aphrodite Child. And it has, I bought it because I wanted the vertical swirl. That's the whole 666 freaks me. I'm a minister's kid. That kind of stuff. Just going, I'm gonna die. I'm going to hell or whatever. But it has a vertical swirl. Bam-o. So what more can you ask for? So great. I totally enjoyed it. The owner was fantastic. Matt was wonderful. We had a great talk as he explained how his business is growing and how really for the longest time, the salon that him and his wife had paid for the vintage part, and now the vintage pays for the salon. It's really taken off, and as he's out there finding new things. So I hope you enjoyed it. The memorabilia was stupid crazy. So much fun. Those are the kind of places I love to find. So now I have brought back in some albums that I have been missing that I've wanted to bring back. And, let's just start with this one here, R.E.M. Murmur. And this came out in 1984. I remember this so well when it came out, and I bought it. Not really knowing what I'm getting. I just thought, well, that's kind of a cool album cover. So I purchased it. And I put it on, and this was music that was so different. It was totally original. No one was doing anything quite like this. The vocals, I didn't have Chronic Town, so this was my very first REM. And I had no idea what to expect. And I fell in love with this album. And it's my favorite REM album because it feels like the first time. Every time I listen to this, it's just so wonderful. Going back to Rockville, of course, was the big song on here, but everything is good. This whole album is just, it's solid. It's packed with wonderful songs, but it showed a band. They kind of got rid of the whole jangly guitar that they had on Chronic Town, and their guitar playing was totally different. They were going in a new direction. Michael Stipe's vocals, still hard to understand, but they were so different, and it was just so well written. Murmur, the best. I mean, the REM. I've been trying to get that one. Been very, very hard. Then, this was a college album. Doobie Brothers, Minute by Minute. Yeah, that's a rarity, isn't it? I love this. Is my very first Doobie Brothers I ever bought. Now, I knew the other Doobie Brothers songs. I mean, they were on the radio. That's when I learned what the Doobie Brothers was. I didn't know that. I didn't know Doobie was the name of a was the name of a joint. But I lived a sheltered life. So this was the first one where now Michael McDonald was solely the vocalist. The other one had to leave, I guess, health reasons or whatever. And so Michael McDonald, you know, who had been on the previous 2 albums, totally took over, and this became a huge smash. And it was one. And I bought it because I knew the hits. I mean, they were on there. You know, they were on the radio. Minute by Minute was on there. You know, What a Fool Believes is just so amazingly good. Now, a lot of people do not like the Michael McDonald years. After this, I didn't like it as much. To me, this was the pinnacle because they were still poppy. They were still exciting. They weren't really too slow. This made them a ton of money. I mean, Doobie Brothers had so many good hits, so many great songs. But this, again, was the very first one. And the thing is, you can still find Doobie Brothers in the bargain bins. I'm amazed that they haven't made some kind of one step for $125 for one. But one wonderful, Minute by Minute. Super happy to get that. If you watched the Sunday show, I talked about Big Country, and I had Steel Town. I also finally was able to get their first one. I've had a hard time locating this. One of those albums, again, when it came out, I bought and go, wow. This, you know, U2 was taken off. And, you know, the kind of this whole big music. It was exploding. It was getting away from the New Romantics and move it into a harder rock sound. And when you hear this Big Country, you know, you can definitely make comparisons with U2. This came out in 1983. Just an incredible song because it had the big hit in a big country. And that was giant here. It was those guitars that sounded like a saxophone. I mean, saxophone. It sounded like a bagpipe. I mean, I thought they were bagpipes. I thought that was a guitar. It was just amazing that, you know, what they did and how I guess they used like an EBow on there to make that sound. I just know it was incredible. In the United States, they became a one-hit wonder. Their other albums didn't take off because nothing was quite like In a Big Country, which is such an epic song. The rest of the songs on here are very, very good. Steel Town, their second album, is excellent. It's just that a lot of people don't know about it. But, you know, again, not an expensive album, but I just haven't been able to find it. It used to be easily found in bargain bins. We're really happy to have that one back. Then we had this. And I just picked this. Actually, I picked this up at Finders Keepers. ABC. The Look of Love. Yeah, when you think about the New Romantics, this defines the New Romantic movement. Yeah, there was a big rivalry between ABC and Spandau Ballet. Of course, Spandau Ballet had True. These were two of the heavy hitters of the New Romantic movement. They had more, I think, hits, especially in the U.S., than Spandau Ballet. And this is just an outstanding album with Poison Arrow and, of course, The Look of Love. You got the look. Man. Now, I will tell you, I was not enamored with the whole New Romantic movement at the start. It seemed to make it a little syrupy, a little quiet. It just wasn't rocking, you know? I was like, oh, okay. I guess I just didn't have that new romance within me. Through the years, you know, this has become a big part. You know, this came out in 82, so I'm just in my early 20s. We're talking memories. We're talking hearing it, bringing up new, you know, things that was going on within my life. I got married in 82. And it's probably because of The Look of Love I gave my wife. You know, like that. I'm sure that was it. So this, I'm really happy to bring this back. I would love an ABC Greatest Hits. There's nothing on vinyl in the U.S. We have never in the U.S., I cannot find where we have put out the Greatest Hits by ABC. And I don't know why, because they had more hits. And you could do a Greatest Hits. You can find a ton of CDs, but not in vinyl. Now, over, you know, in Europe, you can, but to try to get one of those, by the time you pay shipping, it's not worth it. But super happy to get that. And the final one. This group, big at CBGB's.
And it is, and again, this was, you can always find this in a bargain bin, the Tough Darts. They had the hit, and all for the love of rock and roll. Now, when I say a hit, I don't know if it even made the radio. I remember the first time I saw this at my friend Jeff Bigelow, who introduced me to punk, had shown me this album and gave it to me to listen to. That guy's teeth. What's up? I mean, oh my God, I just saw that. To me, it was like the most gross thing in the whole wide world. Like, oh, what the heck? This is, they're considered part of the punk. They were in CBGBs and doing it, but they were rock and roll. This was a rock and roll band, and that's what they played. It really wasn't punk to me, but I mean, it had that. It was this rebellion of what was going on. Let's make short songs. Let's make faster songs. It was kind of like a Flamin' Groovies type thing coming in. They're very popular at CBGBs. They played there quite often, of course, big in New York. And I had this, and you can always find this like for $1. Now, not quite anymore, but still, it's very inexpensive. Great album from the 70s. This came out, 78? 76. Nope, 78. I was right. Hey, I was right. Man, came out in 78. So it is just a great example of what was going on, how rock was changing, and really the transformation from the harder punk into more of this faster, let's get back to the basics of rock and roll. So the Tough Darts, fun stuff, fun group, and happy to get this. And with the, does that count as a smile for that James Griffith thing? Someone smiles? Nah, probably not, but damn it. That's all I got right now. Work's calling me, so everyone have a great week. Bye.